Part 1. Understanding the Airbnb Business Model. Airbnb is one of the clearest examples of how a digital platform can transform an established industry, without owning most of the physical assets used to deliver the service. To understand Airbnb properly, we should not think of it simply as an accommodation company. Airbnb is fundamentally a global marketplace that connects people who have places, experiences, or services to offer with travelers who are looking for them. The starting point is its asset-light model. Traditional hotel companies usually create capacity by owning, leasing, managing, or franchising hotels. Airbnb takes a different approach. Hosts provide the accommodation, while Airbnb provides the technology, brand, customer demand, payment infrastructure, search capability, reviews, and trust mechanisms required to make transactions possible. Imagine someone who owns an apartment in Kuala Lumpur and wants to earn additional income from it. Instead of building a website, running advertising, collecting payments, and independently establishing credibility with international travelers, the owner can list the property on Airbnb. On the other side, a family from Australia can search the platform, compare options, read reviews, make a payment, and communicate with the host through one system. That interaction explains the core logic of Airbnb's business model. The platform creates a two-sided marketplace. Hosts generate supply, while guests generate demand. Airbnb sits between them and facilitates the transaction. More attractive supply can bring more guests. Higher guest demand creates better earning opportunities for hosts. Stronger host economics can encourage more people to list properties, which further expands customer choice. This creates what we call a marketplace network effect. However, network effects do not guarantee permanent success. Hosts can list their properties on Booking.com, VRBO, or other platforms. Guests can also compare accommodation across multiple websites. Airbnb therefore needs to continuously provide enough value to both sides. This is why the Airbnb Business Model Canvas is useful. It allows us to examine the company through 9 connected elements: customer segments, value propositions, channels, customer relationships, revenue streams, key resources, key activities, key partnerships, and cost structure. No single block explains Airbnb by itself. The strength comes from the interaction between all 9. For example, a strong brand is valuable because it attracts guests. Guest demand makes the marketplace more attractive to hosts. More hosts increase the selection available to customers. Reviews and trust systems reduce uncertainty, making customers more willing to book unfamiliar homes. Airbnb is also evolving beyond its original home-sharing concept. Experiences services, boutique hotels, longer stays, digital payments, and AI-supported travel discovery are extending the business into a broader travel ecosystem. The key lesson from this first part is simple. Airbnb's competitive advantage is not just its app or its properties. It is the system that coordinates global supply, global demand, technology, trust, and transactions at scale. With that foundation established, the next part will examine the customer side of the canvas. Who Airbnb serves, what value it offers them, and how the company reaches and maintains relationships with those customers. Part 2. Customer segments, value propositions, channels, and relationships. The customer-facing side of Airbnb begins with an important question. Who exactly is the customer? Unlike a conventional business with one main buyer group, Airbnb serves multiple groups on both sides of the marketplace. On the demand side are leisure travelers, couples, families, groups, long-stay guests, and some business or flexible travelers. Each has different needs. A solo traveler may prioritize price and location. A family may want several bedrooms, a kitchen, and shared living space. A group of friends may value the ability to stay together, rather than booking several hotel rooms. On the supply side are home hosts, property managers, experience providers, service providers, and increasingly boutique or independent hotels. This diversity explains Airbnb's first major strategic challenge. It must create value for customers with very different expectations. For guests, the main value proposition is choice and flexibility. Airbnb can provide apartments, villas, cabins, city homes, vacation rentals, unique properties, and accommodation in neighborhoods that may not be well served by traditional hotels. Consider a family of 6 visiting Tokyo. Booking 3 hotel rooms may be expensive and separate the family. An Airbnb apartment with 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, and common space may solve the problem more effectively. The value proposition goes beyond accommodation. Experiences and services create additional reasons to use the platform. A traveler may book a home, then add a local food tour, photographer, or another travel-related service. Hosts receive a different value proposition. Airbnb gives them access to international demand, a trusted brand, digital payments, booking tools, reviews, messaging, and marketing reach. Essentially, Airbnb allows individuals to participate in the travel economy without building their own distribution infrastructure. The next block is channels. Airbnb's primary channels are its mobile application and website, search engines, social media, digital advertising, email, referrals, and content marketing also bring users into the platform. Direct app usage is strategically valuable because it reduces dependence on external platforms. If a customer begins every travel search on Google, Airbnb may need to continually pay or compete for visibility. If the same traveler opens Airbnb directly, the company owns more of the customer journey. Customer relationships complete this part of the model. Most transactions are self-service. Guests search, compare, book, pay, and communicate digitally. Hosts manage listings, availability, prices, and messages through the platform. Reviews and ratings are particularly important because they reduce uncertainty in a marketplace where the service is delivered by independent providers. Customer support becomes critical when something goes wrong. Suppose a guest arrives and discovers that the property does not match the listing. At that moment, the quality of Airbnb's support protection processes, refund handling, and problem resolution directly affects trust in the entire platform. That is why customer relationships in Airbnb are not simply about convenience. They are part of the marketplace's economic infrastructure. A poor support experience can reduce repeat bookings. Consistent support can strengthen confidence and retention. Together, customer segments, value propositions, channels, and customer relationships explain how Airbnb attracts both sides of the marketplace and gives them reasons to remain active. The next part will move to the economic engine behind the platform. How Airbnb earns money, what resources it depends on, and what activities must be performed continuously. Part 3. Revenue streams, key resources, and key activities once customers and hosts are participating in the marketplace. The next question is how Airbnb converts that activity into a sustainable business. The main answer is transaction-based service fees. Airbnb primarily earns revenue when bookings take place. Accommodation remains the economic foundation, while experiences, services, longer stays, and other travel-related transactions provide additional monetization opportunities. This model is attractive because Airbnb does not need to own a hotel every time it wants to increase booking volume. Imagine a traditional hotel company entering a new destination. It may need to build a property, acquire land, sign management agreements, or establish franchises. Airbnb can potentially increase supply by convincing existing property owners in that destination to join the marketplace. That is one of the major advantages of an asset-light model. However, Airbnb cannot maximize revenue simply by increasing fees. The total transaction must remain attractive to both sides. Guests evaluate the final price. Hosts evaluate what they earn after service fees, cleaning expenses, maintenance, taxes, and other operating costs. If fees become too high, guests may book elsewhere. Hosts may shift inventory to competing platforms or encourage direct bookings. Airbnb therefore needs to grow revenue by increasing useful marketplace activity rather than relying only on higher charges. Now consider key resources. Airbnb's most valuable resources are mainly intangible. The first is its global host network. Without hosts, there is no inventory. The second is its large base of travelers. Without guest demand, hosts have little reason to participate. The brand is another critical resource. Recognition reduces the effort required to convince people to use the service. Technology and data support search, ranking, recommendations, payments, reviews, and communication trust infrastructure is equally important. Verification, reputation signals, reviews, secure payment mechanisms, and protection programs help strangers transact with one another. One of Airbnb's most difficult resources to replicate is marketplace liquidity. A competitor can build an app, it can add payment functionality, it can advertise online. What is much harder is ensuring that enough suitable homes are available in thousands of destinations at exactly the time customers want to travel, while also having enough customers to generate bookings for those hosts. Key activities support these resources. Airbnb must continuously improve the platform. Optimize search and matching, process payments, detect fraud, manage trust and safety, recruit hosts, acquire guests, resolve disputes, and maintain customer support. As the business expands, these activities become more complex. Hotels require different inventory management. Experiences may involve activity-specific risks. Services may involve providers entering customers' homes or delivering physical services. Artificial intelligence can help Airbnb handle some of this complexity. AI can improve search relevance, customer service, recommendations, host pricing guidance, and trip planning. However, technology should simplify the marketplace rather than make it more complicated. The strategic principle is straightforward. A new product is valuable only if it increases customer usefulness, marketplace activity, and economic returns after considering the additional support, technology, safety, and compliance costs involved. Revenue streams, key resources, and key activities. Therefore, explain the operating engine of Airbnb. The next part will complete the 9-block canvas by examining partnerships and costs. Then show how all 9 blocks work together as one system. Part 4. Key partnerships, cost structure, and how the canvas works together. Airbnb may appear to be a technology company operating through its own application, but much of its capability depends on external partners. The most important partners are the hosts themselves. Hosts supply the homes, apartments, vacation properties, experiences, and services that make the marketplace useful. This means host relationships are not simply supplier relationships. They are central to Airbnb's ability to create customer value. Payment providers are another important group. Airbnb operates across many countries and currencies, which requires reliable payment processing, settlement, fraud controls, and financial infrastructure. Technology providers support areas such as cloud infrastructure, maps, location services, communications, and other digital capabilities. Local authorities and regulators are also strategically significant. Short-term rentals may be subject to registration requirements, licensing, taxes, zoning rules, caps, or restrictions. Consider what happens if a major city introduces rules that significantly reduce the number of properties that can legally operate as short-term rentals. Airbnb's available supply in that market can decline even when customer demand remains strong. Government relationships therefore affect the customer segments, value propositions, key resources, revenue streams, and other blocks simultaneously. Now consider the cost structure. Airbnb avoids many costs associated with owning hotels. But this does not make the business inexpensive to operate. Technology infrastructure requires major investment. Product development includes engineers, designers, cybersecurity, AI, data systems, and platform improvements. Marketing is required to attract both hosts and guests. Payment processing creates transaction costs. Customer support, refunds, fraud prevention, insurance-related programs, legal expenses, regulatory compliance, and trust and safety add further costs. The asset-light advantage is therefore conditional. Airbnb benefits from not having to finance most accommodation assets, but it must prevent marketplace complexity from growing faster than its economics. This brings us to the most important lesson from the business model canvas. The 9 blocks must be viewed together. Start with customer segments. Guests create demand, while hosts create supply. The value proposition gives each group a reason to participate. Channels bring users into the ecosystem. Customer relationships help build confidence and retention. Bookings create revenue. Revenue funds key activities such as technology, support, payments, marketing, and trust. Key resources including brand, host supply, guest demand, data, and reputation make those activities possible. Partners extend Airbnb's capabilities. Finally, the cost structure determines whether the system produces sustainable economics. When these blocks are aligned, Airbnb can create a reinforcing cycle. More quality supply attracts more customers. Higher demand improves host economics. Improved host economics attract additional supply. Better marketplace liquidity then improves customer choice. The reverse can also happen. Poor quality listings can weaken trust. Weak trust can reduce bookings. Lower demand can make hosting less attractive. Hosts may then leave, reducing customer choice even further. This is why management should not optimize one block in isolation. For example, increasing fees may help revenue streams, but damage the value proposition and host economics. Rapidly adding listings may improve key resources in quantity, but weaken customer relationships if quality declines. The objective is alignment across the entire canvas. With the 9 BMC blocks now complete, the final part will examine Airbnb's value proposition canvas, competitive position, major risks, and the strategic priorities that can strengthen its future business model. Part 5. Value proposition fit, competition, risks, and strategic priorities. The final step is to move from understanding Airbnb's business model to evaluating whether the platform continues to solve meaningful customer problems. This is where the value proposition canvas becomes useful. For travelers, the main customer jobs include finding suitable accommodation, comparing locations and prices, organizing trips, coordinating family or group travel, and managing bookings. Customers also experience several pains. Prices may be unclear. Listings may not always meet expectations. Travelers may worry about cancellations, safety, property quality, or whether they can obtain help when something goes wrong. Choice itself can become a problem. Thousands of listings are not useful if customers cannot identify which one best fits their trip. Airbnb addresses these pains with reviews, ratings, search filters, secure payments, verified information, host messaging, support programs, and increasingly personalized recommendations. The games customers seek include more space, distinctive accommodation, convenient locations, flexible travel arrangements, local experiences, and easier digital booking. Airbnb creates these gains through homes, unique stays, experiences, services, personalization, and an integrated marketplace. The objective is what we call customer value fit. More inventory does not automatically create stronger fit. Useful inventory does. Now compare Airbnb with two major alternatives. Booking.com offers extremely broad accommodation choice across hotels, apartments, homes, and other properties. VRBO is particularly strong in whole home vacation rentals for families and groups. Airbnb must therefore differentiate itself beyond simply saying, "We offer homes." Its advantage needs to come from the combination of unique properties, host community, strong brand, experiences, services, technology, and an integrated travel journey. Several competitive strengths support this position. Airbnb benefits from global marketplace scale, strong brand recognition, an asset-light model, distinctive accommodation supply, and an expanding ecosystem of travel products. Yet important risks remain. Regulation can reduce short-term rental supply. Inconsistent property quality can weaken customer trust. Booking.com, VRBO, Expedia, hotels, and emerging AI travel platforms create competitive pressure. Hosts can use multiple platforms. Expansion into new categories can increase complexity faster than economic value. These risks lead directly to Airbnb's strategic priorities. First, protect the core home marketplace. Homes remain central to the brand and economics. Second, integrate experiences and services into the accommodation journey rather than treating them as unrelated categories. For example, a customer booking a villa could automatically receive relevant recommendations for airport transfers, local activities, chefs, or photographers. Third, expand hotels selectively. Boutique and independent hotels can fill gaps. But Airbnb should avoid becoming indistinguishable from a conventional online travel agency. Fourth, use AI to improve matching, recommendations, host tools, and customer support. Fifth, strengthen host economics. Without healthy hosts, marketplace supply weakens. Sixth, treat trust as economic infrastructure. Verification, pricing transparency, reviews, safety, and problem resolution directly influence conversion. Finally, reduce dependence on external search by encouraging customers to begin trip planning directly within Airbnb. The broader lesson is that Airbnb's future success depends on disciplined expansion. The company does not need to become everything in travel. It needs to expand where new products strengthen the core marketplace, solve real customer problems, improve host economics, and increase lifetime customer value. That is the central insight from the Airbnb Business Model Canvas. Sustainable advantage comes not from one feature or one revenue stream, but from keeping the entire marketplace system aligned as the company grows.